so welcome to episode number three of the Offstage podcast.
Technically 4. This is going to get messy after a while.
Yeah, I think we'll just say it's 3. The pilot never existed. It didn't happen.
10 episodes down the road. This is the next episode.
This is episode 107. It'll get to that point, hopefully.
Ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. Do I? That means I'm gonna still be alive by then.
That would be 107 hours of us talking.
No one wants to listen to that.
Nobody wants that. It's not a good thing.
Anyway, it's been a pretty newsworthy week. Tons of stuff has been going on. Elon Musk is dating Grimes. What the fuck? That's so weird. That's a thing that's happening. And also a lot of stuff with Spotify and music this week. We've been talking about it a lot on our social media, about how Spotify integrated sharing into Instagram stories. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty cool. You want to kind of talk about how it works a little bit?
Yeah, I just want to say first, it's amazing because our last episode on Spotify, we were talking about how we wanted to see more social integration.
Yeah.
So to be able to share a song onto Spotify or onto Instagram stories directly from Spotify and not have to put the link in bio, you can now click directly from your Instagram story and it'll take you to Spotify, which is amazing. And it's just in the typical share section on your mobile app, because I'm an idiot and I did it on desktop and I'm like, where is it? And then I was like, oh, Instagram.
Yeah, you're like, Martin, it's not working. It's like, are you doing it from your phone?
I've had a long week, okay?
And that is so cool because, what I'm thinking, it's just literally what we were talking about. Like, we want those kind of integrations into the app, into Spotify, into everything. Mm-hmm. So, pretty excited about that. Also in the news, people love Dave Grohl. I don't know if you saw the results of our Instagram poll.
I did. I don't think our sample size is big enough.
Okay. All right.
But I have to say I was pretty surprised.
Yeah.
And disappointed.
Considering that one of the votes for nay was from the Offstage account. So it was you.
I tried to undo that. I was like, oh, I don't want to
throw off.
Yeah, I don't want you to be responsible for my opinion, which you made very clear in the last episode. So I was trying to undo it so I could do it for my page, and then I was going to do it for my page, and I was like, then I'm double dipping into the nay. But yeah, no, I even thought of rounding up my troops of people who I know don't like Dave Grohl, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna screw with the polls.
No campaigning. There was no campaigning.
I'm not gonna screw with the polls. I get it. I'm disappointed. You guys are all believing a lie.
There's nothing wrong with Dave Grohl. He's an okay guy. I don't love him. I think the Foo Fighters are all right. Anyway, what are we talking about this week? What's the topic this week?
I'm speechless. I'm speechless and I'm hot. The topic this week is video.
Video.
Why
are we talking video this week? Why do you think video is important to talk about?
Man, it is clearly, especially based on, if you look at any social media network, video is such a huge component.
Yep.
And different forms of video. There's long form video on YouTube. There's short form video on Instagram and Snapchat. There's live streaming, which is really important. There's video advertising. They even tried to put video into Spotify, which didn't work. Video is king. It's a huge, It should be a huge part of any social media strategy.
Yeah, and it's a great keeper of attention. Because usually when you're listening to music, you're doing something else in the background. When you're looking at, a JPEG, a meme, a photo, just takes your attention for 2 seconds, right? And then you move on, right? Same with a tweet, same with short text. It's just you just watch it once and you just look at it for a couple of seconds and move on. While video is much more engaging, it's much more capturing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It grabs you. And if you do video right, it can be basically the main driver of your whole strategy, of your whole band.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so we wanted to have a video. We wanted to have an episode on video. I noticed that on the last episode when I closed up the show, I said, thanks for watching. Instead of saying thanks for listening.
I wasn't paying attention. I was too pissed off about Dave Grohl.
Nothing wrong with Dave Grohl. Anyway.
We'll see about that.
So so we're going to be talking about video, about strategies, about what to do. We have our very first interview segment on the show this week. That's exciting. A little bit more about that later on. And then we're not only going to talk about video, we're also going to talk about live streaming, because we kind of feel like those two things go hand in hand nowadays. I think almost every major video platform out there right now has live streaming capabilities as well. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about that. It's gonna be awesome. So yeah, this is officially the Foo Fighters fan podcast, and yeah, this is episode 3 of the Offstage podcast.
Leaving.
I'm out of here. All right, so video is king, and it's taking over the world, and we're all gonna die because of video. So I just kind of wanted to get that conversation started, in the sense that I feel like a lot of bands, when they think about video, the only thing they think about is music videos.
Yes, music videos or videos of themselves playing live, which is actually a terrible idea because phones and cameras record audio very poorly. So do yourself a favor and try not to record yourself live, or at least pick a section where you can actually hear everything clearly. Yeah, or even then, if you are recording yourself playing live, and it might be a thing where you record your gig, and then you look at the recording on your phone, it sounds like crap, but it looks very good, because nowadays phones are shooting like in 4K and everything. You can get like really good video out of a phone nowadays. But the audio still sounds like crap. It will, most likely. And maybe you can take that and record a couple of 2 or 3 more shows, and then you can easily make like a video tour, like a kind of video tour music video sort of thing. And then you actually you overlay the pre-recorded studio version of a song over all this footage of like you and your bandmates, if you're a band, or if you're a musician on tour doing fun stuff. And it's a good way to do a little bit of an unofficial music video that also showcase the personality of your band, right? Yeah, absolutely. Compilation videos from B-roll footage that you have on your phones, whether it's you playing live or not, is a really good alternative to just having a picture of your album cover, for instance, or just a photo on YouTube, because you don't have to have a music video to post your music on YouTube. In fact, if you don't have a music video for every single song, which you probably don't, you have to put your music on YouTube. It is a music search engine just as much as any other music streaming platform is. So yeah, it's the second largest search engine in the world after Google. Exactly. And there's a huge community of people who live on YouTube and discover music on YouTube and just don't leave that platform ever. They live on it. So they're going to be looking for your music. They're going to be listening to your music. You don't want to wait until you have a music video. And if you have a lot of B-roll footage, it does not take a ton of talent, time, or skill to put together a compilation video. They're a lot of fun to do. They show a little bit more of your band's personality. It's a really, really easy way to put your music out there on YouTube. That's like the base level, like most basic thing that you can do. Yeah, and that's still just the tip of the iceberg when you really start thinking about what else you can be doing with video rather than just music videos per se, or professionally made music videos. There's obviously, the obvious answers such as vlogging and all that kind of stuff. And things like vlogging are so easy nowadays, in the sense that you can just shoot everything from your phone. You have a designated vlogger in the band, say the bass player, the drummer, the vocalist, or someone that it's designated to vlog. And you can easily edit these videos on your phone or in a tablet. If someone in the band has a tablet, going from gig to gig, someone is editing the vlog on their phone, right? And for example, that's something that I did when I was in a touring band not too many months ago. I was just shooting video all the time, before the gigs, after the gigs. I would have someone record us a little bit during the gigs, and I would put 15-second snippets of us playing, but the actual 3 to 4 minute video was just us hanging out, doing stupid shit. And those videos, when we share them, people, the people who were following the band, really like them, because it's oh, these are really funny. They're just being goofs and hanging out and doing stupid stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that helps kind of
relating it to what we talked about on the pilot episode. It's those are the kind of things that make people fall in love with your band as people, rather than just music. You're more than just MP3 files, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. They kind of they get to see you in the most natural environment they possibly can, because everybody's on to a certain extent. And we just got back from the first half of a tour.
Yeah.
And video content was going up all the time. Short form video content was going up. And then a lot of it was put together, and a tour diary was put out 2 days after the last show on YouTube and on Facebook and such. So, and that's a first go at it too. And it worked out really well, because now all of the band's fans can see, what they're like on the road, and they get to experience this tour with them to a certain extent, as close to those dates as possible.
Yeah, and nowadays it's so easy, even if you don't want to do something as YouTube, which can be, I guess, for today's standards, a little bit laborious, like very, like there's a lot of labor into like editing nicely and the SEOing everything and thumbnails and everything.
Do it, don't be lazy.
Yeah, just do it, don't be lazy. But, it's as easy as just keeping a very interesting Instagram story or uploading to video accepts, like natively just accepts. Instagram just natively accepts video. Same with Twitter. Same with Facebook. And just upload directly from your phone. And there is no reason why you can't do funny things that just your followers will love. If two teenagers saying, "Damn, Daniel can do it," I'm pretty sure you can find something entertaining that you can do and turn it into like a really cool series of videos. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's probably a good introduction to talking about something that I wanted to bring up. Is there's different types of video content. There's content that's thought out, planned, properly edited, where you have effects and title screens and like a whole strategy behind it to create a segment or a bit or whatever. And then there's also really, really, really natural video content where you kind of have to get used to it. And it's funny, I was just reading this in one of Gary Vee's recent books, where he's like, nobody or very few people are just born to be natural in front of a camera. You need to get used to it. And I do know a lot of bands who are just like, and I've even said this too, where it's just like, oh, I don't feel comfortable having the camera on me all the time. It's like, yeah, well, you didn't feel comfortable holding a guitar all the time either. You had to do it a lot to get used to it. And, there's also the thing too, where it's just like, oh, damn, so many cool and funny or interesting things happen. But by the time the camera comes out, it's too late. That's why you have to get used to having that camera on all the time. Always have someone in your crew, or look around and make sure that there's a camera rolling all the time. It's annoying, but you get used to it, just like anything else. So if you always have that camera on, you're going to have a shit ton of extra footage that's really boring, but that's how you're going to capture those golden moments. Exactly. Yeah. So that's natural content. And then, of course, there's the live stuff, like the best Instagrammers that have millions and millions of followers. Go look at their Instagram accounts. It's not just pictures and videos that they put together that were perfect. They'll have well done, beautifully shot segments that they put up on YouTube and advertise on Instagram. But if you go look at their stories every single day, they have lengthy stories that are either, pictures or videos, or a lot of it's just turning the camera on when they have an idea. They have to get used to that. Yeah.
Sometimes they just what I've seen too is like they just pick a topic and then they have like a 4 to 5 story series if they're just talking about that topic. It might be, I don't know, if let's say that it's a punk rock band and there's a new Green Day album out, they just talk about let's talk about the new Green Day album, and it's just them in like 5 to 6 stories just talking about what songs they like, which ones they didn't like, and that kind of stuff. It's about generating that kind of content to keeping your audience engaged. And there's also like you said, there's like scripted, non-scripted, and there's a lot of stuff that you can do with the scripted side that really still gives you a lot of benefits as a band. One thing that I've always been a big fan of is using video to promote your shows. I think it's a thing that not enough bands do, and it's not done enough. A great example is back home in Caracas, Venezuela, many moons ago, I was in a band that, was moderately successful, played on the radio and everything, playing shows and all this kind of stuff was really cool. And so once one of the biggest shows we ever played was this festival that a brand back in Venezuela was like promoting. It was like their festival, right? And they had a commercial at the time they had a commercial for their product, which is it's like a cereal. They had like a commercial for their product on like just playing on national TV all the time, and it's about this guy talking about going to this party that was really cool and really awesome, and just like he's like going all around the house and telling the story of how this party was great, and it was great because they had the cereal at the party or something like that. So what we did is like we created this parody of the commercial, talking about how the festival was great. The festival hadn't happened yet, right? So this is like almost like a post-festival kind of skit, and talking about how the festival was great, but we sucked. We, the band, sucked. It's like we were talking about like the drummer, like the drum kit exploded suddenly, the bass player fell off the stage, the lead singer, the microphone got unplugged, but you can still hear the vocals, so they were totally lip syncing, and like we were talking about that, and we did that to promote the show, and then the main brand that was like, you know, the huge on social media and everything, they retweeted it and shared it saying this is hilarious, come to the festival, all that kind of stuff.
I love that.
So there's like tons of things that bands could do to promote themselves and like do funny stuff and interesting and creative stuff on social media and video that, you know, a lot of people are like, yeah, I make videos, but what does that turn to? Like that turns into attention, into people showing up to your shows, or if you're promoting a single or something, it's really smart to do those things.
For sure. And here's the thing, this kind of goes right back to the very first episode, and I think to our social media episode as well, but it's just like you don't need to sit around trying so hard to think of something to do that you don't already do in some way. It's about, how can I turn something that I already do or already find funny, think about, know a lot about, into a form of video content? Mm-hmm. It doesn't always have to be promotional. And in a lot of ways, you can become very, very successful, especially when it's not promotional.
Yeah. Like, for example, let's say that every night after band practice, you and your friends end up, I don't know, you and your bandmates, end up, like, I don't know, playing Fortnite. Or when you're like recording that, then you compress it to like funny Fortnite moments, mm-hmm. and have that uploaded on YouTube or on your band page on Facebook or anything. And it's not necessarily promoting a song or a single or an album or anything, but it's a way for you, like for the band to be like, hey, this is who we are. We're goofy, we're fun, or something like that.
This is what we play, or this is what we do. This is the other, sorry, I'm like shedding all the carpet. This is another dimension to who you are.
Or maybe you guys like to go skating after practice, so you do like a little skating video, or like bloopers of you guys like falling off your skateboards and stuff. Like that's the kind of thing that you want to kind of share and be like, this is who we are.
Exactly. It doesn't always have to be funny or entertaining. It can be informative. It can be anything at all. Like, what are you good at? Who are you? What kind of personality do you have? Turn it into some kind of video content and get used to being comfortable in front of the camera. And you don't have to be fake or phony. Just be who you are. If you're kind of shy and awkward, then be shy and awkward. People will love it.
Yeah, like for example, like, when you talk about like that, it can also be knowledge. It doesn't always have to be funny and goofy. Maybe your band, it's not a band that wants to market itself as funny and goofy, mm-hmm. or it wants to market itself differently or with a different attitude. And there's a million things you could do. There's this guy that I know from this band that he has these like YouTube videos where he breaks down like pop music. And so, like, for example, he takes like Shake It Off from Taylor Swift, and he breaks down all the elements and tells you why the song is so catchy. Like, it's catchy because he has like a beat that goes like this, and the chord progression, and like he has like a whiteboard and everything explaining everything about the song.
Genius.
And those are so cool. I love those kind of videos, right?
Yeah.
And like there's tons of things you could do. Like everyone is a geek or a genius about any topic, at least one topic, right? So try to kind of drill that down and kind of, take advantage of that. Don't put your own band into a box when it comes to video. You're already doing it in so many other things anyway. So try not to do it when it comes to video. I think another thing too is like just repurposing video is really important. Just because you use footage once doesn't mean you can't reuse it again and again and again.
It's so true. This is the difference between there's long form and there's short form. So you could take snippets, and they're great for Instagram stories. They're great for like little ads on Facebook or whatever. And then you can put things into long form and upload it to YouTube.
Yeah. And I mean, look at the Chainsmokers, the selfie video. I just want to take a selfie. But first, let me take a selfie. Like, I don't know if you watched the music video, but it's just a bunch of pictures of selfies that they're just like silly selfies. Just like one after the other, after the other, after the other. And that's the music video. And it's fine. It works.
It's smart because people spend endless hours scrolling through social, looking at other people's selfies.
Right? Might as well. And that was like their breakthrough single. And then they just wrote the same song 7 more times and called it a career. Anyway. So there's ton of stuff you can do about that. I think I broke Vanessa.
I love it. Martin's bringing the sass today. I'm too tired.
Too tired to be sassy
and
today.
And I'm sore from eating shit on King Street yesterday.
You want to tell the story real quick?
Yeah, the story is I'm an idiot. I was walking down King Street, not paying attention, tripped over nothing apparently, and just ate shit. And my phone saved my face, but did not save my phone. I screwed up my knee and my shoulder.
Shit.
And, things could be worse. It was a sunny day. Goes. So, yeah, I'm tired, hot, and sore. But it's okay. It's a good day. It's beautiful outside.
All
it's
good attributes.
CMW. I'm going to go see the Dirty Note
happy
tonight.
CMW.
Thank you.
I think I'm going to a thing on Friday night.
You coming to our show on Saturday?
I haven't been made aware of it.
What do you mean? Get out of here.
What do you do? Just send me a Facebook invite?
No, I don't invite anybody to things on Facebook.
Oh, shit. It's like secret stuff.
See, it's not. It's
is that the
schedule.
longboat stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll probably be there. Anyway, this is all in the past anyway when we talk about this.
So it's
yeah, not.
This was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Happy CNW for those 2 or 3 non-Canadian listeners. That's Canadian Music Week. It's like a big deal here in Toronto. Yeah. Big thing. Just a bunch of gigs going around the town. But another thing that you can definitely do with video, and I think it's obviously it's such an easy win in the sense just doing cover videos. Just turning on the camera with an acoustic guitar and doing covers, especially if there are musicians and bands that are in your kind of same genre, or if you can give it a spin, like a metal version of Taylor Swift, like stuff like that. Usually does very, very, very well on social media. The more unique and interesting you can make it, the better. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I saw 3 dudes playing Killing in the Name of on toy instruments.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, have you seen it?
No.
It's like a toy guitar, a toy drum kit, and a toy, what do you call it? It's like a weird instrument. I don't even know what to call it. It's like almost like a saxophone looking thing.
Oh my God.
And they're playing Killing in the Name of.
I love that.
And it's fucking amazing. It's so good. And that obviously got shared, and they're like an actual band, but like they were doing that just for fun, and it got shared like crazy. Same with Walk Off the Earth.
That was obviously insanely genius, and that video actually, now that it's pretty much like the legendary example
would you want to educate the few that don't know what Walk Off the Earth is?
I'm sorry, but if you guys don't know about the Walk Off the Earth video, I don't know why you're listening to this podcast. If you're a musician who doesn't know about the Walk Off the Earth video, I mean, even like my grandmother would know. I mean, people watch Ellen, right? I mean, God. Anyways, no, the Walk Off the Earth video is one of my favorite examples of, when bands kind of complain, well, I can't come up with anything original. I can't do what Walk Off the Earth did. And it's like, do you really think that Walk Off the Earth sat around being like, we need to think of something super cool?
Yeah, no, this is the one that's going to make us viral.
Yeah, and it's like, I'd love to talk to them one day just to confirm this, because I've been saying it for years now, but I bet you that was something that they always did or had done once or twice that was pretty spontaneous, where they all kind of
neat potty trick
started doing something together, like on one instrument or one guitar, and then they were like, wait a minute, hold on a second, and then just, how when you just do something for shits and giggles and then you're like, whoa, wait a minute, we need to see this thing through, and then obviously they saw it through to the point where it's like, clearly that wasn't, that
video was even bigger than the actual song they were covering.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was genius. Like, what was great about it, another tip you can take from them on this video, is that they recorded it really, really well, because they realized, like, this is actually really, really cool, so we're going to go out of our way to make it sound and look really, really good. And it sure as hell paid off. Now, you can't aim to always have a video that hits like that. It's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. But when you put in that kind of effort into something that starts off as a spontaneous idea, that's the opportunity you have.
Yeah, and a lot of people have that kind of self-defeatist attitude. It's like, oh, I don't have any ideas. And it's like,
especially artists have a defeatist attitude. Sensitive souls, you know.
yeah,
It's just like,
if you're already complaining and talking about losing, and you haven't even started competing yet, and it's like, and you know what? And it's gonna be, and I'll tell you right now, your first 20 to 30 videos might not get tons of views and might be crap, but that's still not a reason to stop.
Yep. No, it's so true. Another great example is an artist that I worked with back in 2012, 2013, 14. And I just had a really cute idea that pertained to their personality. They were really, really funny, entertaining guys. And one of them in particular knew a lot about the structure of the guitar. Like, he understood guitars on like a scientific level and understood how to break down genres of music in a really, really intelligent way, but had an insane sense of humor. So I said, you know, there's a lot of how-to. Like, I learn how to play every single song I want to learn how to play through YouTube videos on the guitar. So I said, well, why don't you do something like that, music lessons, but make them parodies, teaching people how to play different genres of music. And there were other members of the band, like the drummer, who was a little bit more of just like pure comedy style. So he went to go do a tutorial on how to play the drums and was like a total idiot. Like, you didn't learn how to play shit in that video, but it was really entertaining and funny, and like
it was funny to see him like fuck up and
humor.
trying to
just totally not teaching you how to play the drums. And like the end bit was how he's like, and that's how you play the saxophone. It was just stupid. It was so stupid. And then they were also gamers, so they're like, how to Zelda, and they did like a life Zelda.
That's
and it was so funny. But they did several videos and they put a lot of time and effort into it. They scripted things out, you know, they shot them, they edited them really well, and it took a few videos, but one of them actually ended up going viral. Now, if they had given up at the first one when 200 people watched it and didn't give a shit, then they never would have got to the viral video. And then all of a sudden, they just kept on putting out more and more. You know, the one that they did after that got half as many views, but then all of the other ones. I mean, it was great. It was a really good run for quite a while.
I think a good comparison here is like, it's as if you put out one single, then it's not a hit, and then you give up music.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
It's
Keep at it.
You're not going to get it right the first time. Like, you have to look at it the same way as, you know, learning how to write songs, learning how to play your instrument, learning how to sing. You're not going to get it right the first time. So you can't look at anything you do on social media, especially video content, the same way. You have to get used to it. You have to put the time and effort into it to do it right. And it's worth it. It's worth the investment. And
nowadays, there's so little excuses, because most of the investment, honestly, it's going to be time. Because most likely, at least one person in your band has a phone that shoots at super high quality, and it shoots like very well, really good kind of video. And if it can do that, it can also edit it. There's tons of apps on both for Androids and iOS devices that are super useful video editors. At least for what you're trying to do, they're more than enough.
So easy.
You're not trying to edit a movie here, right? You're not trying to edit an actual music video here. You're just doing kind of like content creation.
And again, something that you'll become really good at really fast if you just take a little bit of time.
Yeah, and like there's so many things that you can do, from like music videos, lyric videos, everything. A good example, like from one of my personal projects, I did a lyric video that's just, literally the budget was like what, $6 or $5, because I had to go to Dollarama, get a bunch of like different color construction paper and just regular kind of paper, and the whole video is just me writing down the lyrics on pieces of paper. And then, of course, I accelerated it so it kind of matches the song itself. I had to edit it after. But, like, there's so many. And that video, I still use it on Facebook for advertising and everything. It was the video, like, for the single and everything. And people liked it. And it did well. And it cost, like, what, $6 in an afternoon?
So easy.
That's it.
So easy. Let's talk about your interview.
Okay, cool. So, we're going to transition here in a bit, but I actually had a chance to sit down with John from the band Minority 905. The band Minority 905 is a pop-punk band from Mississauga, Ontario, just right next to Toronto. They're a band that recently hit 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. Big deal. They've been hustling and they've been doing a lot of work on YouTube. They've been featured on Kerrang magazine. Green Day has published their covers on their website. This is something I learned during the interview.
Amazing.
That is huge.
That's really cool.
So I kind of sat down with John over Skype and kind of picked his brain a little bit about this kind of stuff. So what you'll hear is segments of the interview. How did they get started? What strategies are they following up? What's next? How did it get to like 20K subscribers? What can they do now with those 20K subscribers? And so, yeah, let's officially go into the very first Offstage podcast interview. Woo! So first of all, we'll start pretty basic. I know that you guys just hit 20,000 subscribers, and that's huge. But how did it come about? Like, how did you decide that as a band you wanted to focus on YouTube rather than, say, Instagram or Facebook? Like, you wanted to make YouTube your main platform that you wanted to grow?
Yeah, well, it first started kind of just as a thing to share, the things that we were doing. But mostly, like, what I wanted to do was kind of get myself more out there instead of just playing shows every few months or once a month. It was just a better chance to upload more content, like on a daily basis, I guess, or weekly basis.
And it was like easier too, right? Because you don't have to book a venue and go through all that pain and rehearse and all that kind of stuff. You just kind of do it in your basement. That's it.
Yeah, and like the thing about it that was cool too was because especially when we were first starting out, we didn't really have a lot of reputation. So sometimes it was kind of hard to get on shows. So I knew that I wanted to kind of just get myself more out there.
Yeah, and it kind of paid off. That turned into subscribers, which turned into reputation, which turned into real fans.
Yeah, and more people asking us to play shows, right? Because before that, it was really hard to get on shows.
Yeah, even we had you guys at our last Stranded Fest, and one of the big reasons was these guys have that looks attractive for a show booker, right? These guys have a huge YouTube presence. So when do you notice that you were getting that kind of initial growth on YouTube, that you were actually this is taking off, let's double down?
So the first thing that we started doing was we just started doing Green Day covers. But at that time, the growth wasn't that much. It was steady, but it was really slow. It would be maybe 1 subscriber a day or 2 subscribers a day, right? But we were uploading pretty frequently, every week for a while. And then it started growing up until I think 300 subscribers. And then we did that Green Day medley that we dropped. And that one kind of went viral. So it shot us up from 300 subscribers to 1,000 in about 2 days or so. So that was kind of really the starting point. And I knew after 1,000, as long as we kind of just kept uploading and we kept the content good, that we would keep growing.
That's the if I remember correctly, that's the one that ended up being retweeted by Kerrang magazine and everything, the Green Day medley, right?
Yeah, it got on their website too, on Green Day's website. So I was happy about that.
Green Day themselves put it up on their website?
It was on their website. I don't know if they saw it. Maybe the people that run their website saw it, I guess.
That's still amazing though. That's huge. Holy crap. I didn't know that part of the story. That's probably something that you were screaming about that day. I would have been screaming about it all day. You just mentioned about being consistent on YouTube. Do you think that's a huge advice or thing that you should, a must if you're going to pursue YouTube, regular scheduling, regular uploads and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think for sure you should be uploading at least weekly. We try to do it. Sometimes we can't just because we're busy. But definitely for sure in the beginning, we did stuff weekly and it would be always the same day. Usually we'd do a video every Wednesday just so people know when to come back, because sometimes people don't always check, right?
Yeah. So that then they know every Wednesday there's going to be a pop punk cover for me to watch. So on the production end of things, do you guys started out already with expensive gear, or that kind of end of things? Is this is fully DIY, right? Or how does it work?
So the way it first started was our old guitarist. He actually was our producer before, like kind of just an independent producer in his basement. But he had a good amount of gear. So when we first started doing the YouTube channel, we would record everything at his house. So the quality was pretty good to start off with, but now we just do, we record everything ourselves at our house or at my house, and then we send him what we recorded to mix. So it's kind of different versus when it first started. We would do everything at his house, and then he would mix it also.
You know, one thing that I did notice about your channel, which I think it's pretty cool, is that you guys consistently upload all these covers. But despite that fact, one of your most viewed videos is an original song, the music video for Shadow. How did you manage that? What do you think? How do you think that happened, that you were able to kind of bring your audience from the covers onto your originals?
What we did, I'm pretty sure Shadow is like the featured video on our channel. So when you go on our channel and you click it, it's like the first video that pops up. I think that's how it got a lot of its views, from like when people started subscribing to us back when we did the Green Day medley. And then they started checking out the original stuff too.
Oh, so that's perfect, because you had the original stuff in place before you went viral, so that, you know, if it ever did happen, you had it right there, ready to go.
Yeah, like one of the big reasons that we did YouTube was because we wanted people to check our originals, right? It's not that I want to be a cover band, because I don't. I want to be like my own band. But sometimes it's hard for people to invest in it right away. So having the covers there is like kind of a good way for them to see like how good we are or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. And now that you talk about that, that's actually a pretty good point. Do you feel like there's struggles with, you know, of course not every strategy has its pros and cons. Do you think a con of the strategy you guys are following is that maybe you feel a little bit like a YouTube band or like a cover band rather than a band, whatever that means?
Yeah, for sure. It's sometimes like we get comments that like saying we're a cover band, but like I understand it, but we're not, or we're not trying to be.
Yeah. And I mean, there is covers are great. Like I'll say, like, you know, I run a festival that's based on covers. Like they're great, and there's a reason why they're great.
And I know for me too, like, right, when I go on YouTube and I check out people's covers, sometimes they also have originals, and then I end up listening to their originals as well.
Exactly. I definitely found bands the same way. Like you see a really cool video of them, or even just on like Spotify search or Google Play, they just pop up because you're searching for the original. You end up listening, it's like, oh, this guy's killed it. Let's check out all their stuff. Next question is, you know, 20,000 subscribers, that's nuts, but what comes next? How do you see that? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you wanna? What's next after that?
I think right now we just want to keep going at the same level that we've been. Hopefully, because this year's been a little bit slower than usual. But hopefully we can get back on track with you know, like uploading more and more and having the same kind of growth as before. Yeah.
And you're turning that into shows, right? Because you're going, you know, a few days after this recording, you're going to go on a small tour in Eastern Ontario and Montreal, I believe.
Yeah, so it's Toronto first, then Kingston, then Montreal.
Yeah, exactly. So like you're turning all those like quote unquote digital fans into like real people that show up to your shows. Are you guys considering doing YouTube live at all? Is that something that kind of catches your eye?
I would be cool with doing it. I just don't know how we would go about that. We would probably need a lot of equipment that's expensive.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, have you guys like thought about stuff like Patreon or any platform like that where you could release covers ahead of time or things like that? Is that something that's under your scope?
Right now, we kind of have a similar thing to that. We just have the mailing list. So anybody that's subscribed to our mailing list, they kind of get the cover. Say we finish it the night before, then they'll get it the night before instead of in the next day.
But that is a super good idea, actually. There's not, in my opinion, there's not enough bands out there that are taking advantage of mailing lists. Myself included, like I have bands that I play on that we're not using those kind of tools, because usually those are your hardcore fans that will open up your emails and see what you're up to. All right, so I guess subscribe to Minority 905 on YouTube to be on the lookout for new music and some new covers coming out.
And follow us on Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Perfect.
Excellent. All right, I want to thank you, John, very much for your time. and you'll get to hear this on the podcast soon enough. All right, so welcome back to the show. That was a very nice interview, and I just wanted to quickly touch on some points. First of all, they asked me to plug in a few things. The guys at Minority 905 asked me to plug in that they are there's a competition going on right now for the Montebello Rock Fest, the Amnesia Rock Fest, right? Where you can vote for a local band to play on one of the big stages at Rockfest. And Minority 905 is right now on the competition. So they asked me to plug in that if you go check them out and you like their music, please vote for them.
Is this competition still going to be on in 2 weeks?
If it's still on by the time this podcast is live, go and vote. If it's not on,
sorry, John.
C'est la vie. I'm so sorry. But yeah, just doing that thing for these guys. Anyway, during the interview, I asked them if they do live streaming, which it's kind of the topic that we want to transition into right now because they kind of go hand in hand. And John mentioned that they don't necessarily do live streaming, but it's something that they've been interested about. It's just a little bit hard to figure out logistically sometimes. But yeah, I did definitely want to talk about live streaming because I think it's such a huge component, a component that's blowing up, that it's not... still to this day, in my opinion, is not flooded yet. It's not like YouTube, which is flooded, and there's definitely opportunities there. Anything you want to start with, talking about live streaming video and musicians and bands and what they can do?
Yeah. Live streaming, it can be very, very different, and it is very different because it's happening live right before you. So you can't really, plan it out. You can plan it out to a certain degree, but what's so great about live streaming is people are there with you live, and they can interact with you and they can talk to you. So it's, it really kind of puts you on the spot to be in the same room with your viewers rather than showing them something that's a little bit more polished or edited after the fact. But that's what makes it so great, is it's super authentic, and it really gives you an opportunity to connect. And again, you got to look at what the influencers are doing. If the influencers are going live, they're doing it for a reason. It works. So sometimes you don't have to have a huge plan. Sometimes you can just go live. Make sure you tell people you're going live. Right? Tell people you're going live, whether it's the day before, an hour before, whenever. Tell them on all platforms. Give them the link to wherever you're going to be doing it from. Usually Instagram, I would recommend, or Facebook. And sit with your fans. Just hang out. Why not?
Absolutely. And there's so much stuff that can be done on the live format. Obviously, every single platform nowadays has a live component. Twitter has live video, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of them have live video at this point, and there's a reason why. It's the most engagement you're ever gonna get out of any content, and not only is highly engageable, it's you can repurpose that content if you are backing up your live streams as video files on your phone or your computer or whatever. It's so easy to take that and turn it into other videos that you can do. Like, hey, somebody asked me on my last Instagram live, they asked me what my top 10 movies of all time are. And I answered them. Here it is. Make sure to follow me on Instagram if you want to check out my live streams every Thursday afternoon or something like that. And that's a strategy right there. Why not? If you want to grow your Instagram following. And of course, I think if you're going to do live streaming, an important thing is keeping a schedule. If you're going to do live streaming seriously as a way to grow your brand, it's like every Thursday afternoon, I'm going to crack open a beer, go live on Instagram, and just answer questions or do whatever. Or even if you think that you don't have enough of an audience to start taking questions and all that kind of stuff, come up with your own concept. There's so many ways that you can do it. One thing that I did, I like to talk about this example a lot when it comes to live video. As you guys know, I have a music project called A Dog Named Bob. And one of the ways that I did to grow it quite a bit was to do this Facebook live streams every 2 Sundays where I would just do acoustic covers of a specific band. So I would say, you know, next Sunday, I'm covering Straight Light Manifesto acoustically live on Facebook Live. So I would announce it like a week before, right? And run a little ad with just a picture of me holding an acoustic guitar saying like, I'm just doing covers of a Straight Light Manifesto on Sunday at 6 p.m. Make sure to like my page so you can catch the stream. And I would run an ad with that, targeting people who listen to Straight Light Manifesto. And those, like my band page, I think once I started doing that when my band page had about like 20 to 30 likes on it. And then because this was like when the project was new and I was just getting it started. And by the point I stopped, I did like 3 or 4 of them. I had almost 200 likes on my page.
Amazing.
And that's like, I didn't have to go and rent a venue. I didn't have to like go into like crazy band practice. I just had the chords and the lyrics in front of me. I just did it from my home. It was really easy. I didn't have to even leave the house. And I was gaining, and I could target people from anywhere. If I wanted, and I was mostly targeting people in Toronto that listen to those bands. So that's how you can use like live video to do this kind of thing. So all you need is a webcam, and if you already have a webcam and a microphone, I'm assuming most of the musicians listening to this podcast at this point, like almost like 70 to 60% of musicians have like recording gear, like home studio gear at least. You can use that gear to live stream on Facebook. Just make sure you have a webcam. You can set up your webcam and your kind of recording gear, your microphones, and go ham.
Now, tell me if this is true for Facebook. Do you have to actually like the page to see the live stream? No, right?
Not necessarily, but it's a good way to, right?
But this
People don't know that.
This is a good way, though, to grow your following on Instagram, because if you're going to go live, that's live in stories, and you have to follow their page in order to see that live stream. So if you're trying to grow your Instagram fan base and get people... rather than just kind of scrolling through without following, you want to engage them. You can grow your audience that way by offering something exclusive in a live stream. Not even like gifts. You're not trying to give something away, but it's like, hey, I'm going to be doing this on Instagram. Follow my page, and
and it's in a good way. It's a good way to take people off of a platform onto another.
Yes,
we talked about that before. How you want to kind of diversify.
Yes,
and have your audience follow you on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, any kind of social media that you use. And as we know, kind of organic reach from Facebook is dying. That's kind of a thing that's just happening. So moving your audience to other platforms where you get more engagement, Instagram being a great example, is always a good idea, right?
Absolutely.
And it's just a way to, you know, doing those live streaming kind of videos. It's always a great way to go from, my followers like me to my followers like really engage with me. Like they're my friends. Like they hang out with me. And there's so many things that you can do, even with gaming. Like nowadays, Xbox, the Xbox One and the PS4 and everything, they come with like live streaming software on it. Like you just press a few buttons and then you're live on Facebook, you're live on Twitch, you're live on YouTube playing a game.
Cool. I didn't know that.
I don't know if you knew that.
No.
But it is that easy nowadays to live stream yourself playing a video game. So why not? You're already doing it anyway. You're like wasting 3 to 4 hours of your day playing, I don't know, GTA or Street Fighter or whatever.
Do it live. Let everyone see how crap you are at the game.
Yeah, right? Might as well, like,
Be relatable.
I mean, of course, no one wants to see someone quietly playing the game. But if you know how to riff and, like, you know, make fun of the game and keep it interesting, or you're doing something really cool like a speed run or beating the last boss or something that's super hard, just it's a flick of a button and you're live. Live streaming couldn't be easier nowadays. You can do it from your phone, you can do it from your consoles, you can do it from your computer. It's crazy.
It's the best way to look at live streaming really is you can, like I said, you can have it set up where, you know, like what you did with your cover video series. It's like you're planning on doing something, you've planned it out, and people can be there and watch it with you in real time, which is a really cool experience in itself. But it's also a way to basically, it's like if you're out and you have friends with you, they're there with you. When you're live streaming any type of experience, you know, if you're on the road on tour as a band and one of you has a good data plan, you could live stream for half an hour and say, hey, we're live streaming for half an hour. We're going to take suggestions. Like, you can be our DJ. Yeah. And you guys sit there and kind of like listen to music with us.
Yeah, either that or like as simple as, you know, we're going to be playing Mafia while we're on the bus bored out of our minds. Or like we're going to be playing Trivia. Come join or something like that. Or like there's like so many things that you could do.
So many
with
things.
a live format, Q&As. That's obviously the easy. That's like just the tip of the iceberg. But like, there's so many things, and I feel like it's a format that it's still so young, and so like just getting started. Like I think about like, for example, I don't know if you know this, but in Korea right now, it's like very popular to see people live streaming themselves eating. All they're doing, not seriously, all they're doing is like
weird.
they set up their phone in a little like, you know, those phone tripods.
Yeah.
And they order a bunch of food at a restaurant, and they're eating and talking to the people while eating, because in Korean culture, eating is like a very social thing. Like going by yourself to like eating by yourself at a restaurant is like frowned upon.
Yeah.
Like eating out is like a social thing. So it's like I'm eating out with like my digital friends. Like,
Oh my god, I love that.
It's like a
at first I
huge
was
thing.
like, what? Why? But now it's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that
I
makes
get
sense.
That. I get that. Now I don't like eating alone, because I grew up with a family that it was communal. Like we all sat down and ate dinner together, and I get really lonely when I'm eating alone. Now,
Exactly.
And I just don't pay attention to it. So I just do the mindless eating thing, watching TV, which is just depressing. Or I just feel lonely when I'm sitting eating alone. So now I'm just going to I'm going to call someone up and be like, do you want to
Oh my God.
FaceTime with me? I don't FaceTime. I don't know how I would do it on my phone, but either way, Facebook Live. There we go.
yeah, that got depressing really quick.
Facebook timed my
Facebook
cousin many
time.
times. So yeah, Facebook time. Is
Yeah,
what
and
we
there's
call it.
definitely value there. And there's also people who are bored on a Thursday night, and they're like, yeah, I'll tune in, see what's up, what's going on. And you just gotta, and it is hard to kind of keep it entertaining, but, live video, that's the kind of thing. Like if you're doing music, it's kind of easy because you're just playing music in that sense, but it's harder to plan for.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing I would advise against with live streaming, and I've seen a lot of people doing this on Facebook, is that if you're going to be doing something on live stream, don't sit there in silence.
Oh, that's the worst.
Just dead silence, and you're sitting there like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Especially if someone comes into your live stream and you're just sitting there quiet, it's like, and I'm gone.
Yeah, and not only that, make sure that if you're gonna live stream, make sure that there's like, sometimes I get a notification of a live stream, and by the point I get to like the live stream, they're already done. Like the live stream was like a minute and a half. And it's like, why do you even live stream then? If you're gonna do live streaming, make sure that you're live streaming at least for 10 to 15 minutes.
True.
Right?
Yeah,
like
stick around
so
for a
that
bit.
some people actually have time to arrive and see what you're up to. Like not everyone is just waiting for you to go live to go see you, right? Like
Yeah.
let it kind of.
One thing I hope they fix eventually, but I'm guessing, because it's live and there's going to be lag no matter what. But I love it when it's like a Q&A format and people are asking questions and you just see like people like kind of staring at their screens and they're
waiting for
catching things like a minute after they happen. It's adorable to watch. It's actually really fun. It's almost like, I don't know, like FaceTiming your grandparents for the first time and they're just looking at you like, what? It's awesome.
Oh shit! Okay.
Do you gotta go? I gotta go.
Another time.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, my computer lit up being like, we're gonna restart your computer now and update it. It's like, not right now, please. Not when we have like 45 minutes of footage that we would lose if that happened. Okay, so kind of to wrap it up.
We gotta wrap it up, yeah.
Right before we wrap it up, another idea that I completely forgot to mention about Instagram Live is that you can have Instagram Lives with other people. You can invite people onto your Instagram Live.
Shut up.
So you could do like I can be on Instagram Live and they say, go live with Vanessa. And then the screen splits into two and we're both live streaming.
So
We're having
why
like
the
a
hell
video
are we sitting
chat.
here doing this way?
Right?
We should be doing this live.
Catch it next week.
We're gonna have the
We're gonna
Offstage
do it,
Live.
the Offstage Live podcast.
Yeah.
Mini podcast. We'll pick like a random topic and talk about it and do that.
I love
and
that.
there's so many ways you could do like a late night listener call show. And you just get people to come into your thing and give me your relationship problems. Like, let's talk about this. And then that's just something really engaging and cool that you do
I love that. Okay, we're gonna
media.
do that. We're gonna do that. Gotta wrap it up. I gotta go.
All right. Vanessa has somewhere to be, but as always, she hustles and she makes sure that she's here at the recording studio.
Studio 412.
Studio 412.
AKA Martin's living room.
So yeah, lesson of the day: treat video almost as like how you treat music. Have a strategy, be consistent, don't give up, and just put a lot of it out there and be creative. because it's definitely pays off when you have a good recipe. Even if you don't go viral, it will pay off in making your audience more entertained and more of a fan of you, hardcore fans.
Yeah, just do it. Don't get stuck in analysis paralysis, waiting for the perfect idea to come. Just turn the damn camera on. Nobody cares.
Get her done.
Just do it. Just record and keep recording and eventually you'll get good at it.
Yeah. So that was episode 3 of the Offstage podcast. Thank you for listening, and make sure to subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast in. Just as a reminder, we're available on Apple Podcasts. I keep calling it iTunes, but it's Apple Podcasts. On Spotify, Google Play Music, and YouTube. So, yeah, just catch us there. Huh?
You're so good at this stuff. I would never remember to do it. I'd be like, okay, bye.
And we also add the Offstage on every single social media channel. Bye!